Fuck it, we'll do it live. Shout out to Bill O'Reilly. Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of season 2 of the Nukeclear podcast. I am your gracious host, Mikael. I get that from Joe Budden. I need to stop. And to my right is...
And it's Jihad, and welcome to the Nukeclear podcast once again.
And our offhand mic, once again, is the lovely Matt. I was waiting for you to say it. Shit. So, let's just start it off. We took like a week off. A lot of shit happened. A lot of shit didn't really happen, but it did at the same time. I'm fully vaccinated. You can put like an applause here. Like applause.
Backpack.
Trap horn.
Yeah, trap horn.
Smoking backpack out here.
And I dealt with the side effects of it, which was super fatigue. It was like, fuck. It was horrible. I hated it. I hated all of it. And I'm better now. It took me like a good 3 to 4 days to get past it. And like, I'm better now, but my sleep schedule was totally fucked up. And yeah, get vaccinated. Please do. So we can like do shit like go to clubs or sex parties or cannibalism or whatever you want to do.
I don't know about that, Chief, but okay.
Cannibalism or whatever, or human trafficking. Just let's get back to the way America and the world should be. What about you?
Make America great again.
Yeah, let's not do that. But or maybe
Starting this week out strong.
Yes, yes. So if I'm a little low energy a bit, that's why I'm getting my sleep schedule. I'm getting my body back. My body different, but my body's not back yet.
Different.
So Jihad, how was your week so far, or the last week, I should say?
Week's been super busy. It's been working a lot, and it's been fun. It's been good to be back at work. Making money again, because the industry that I'm working in right now was hit extremely hard with the pandemic going on. So we were like really understaffed, and with that, of course, you have like guest complaints and shit like that. Stuff that's that's out of my control. Yeah. The department that I work in, like we deal with customers, front and center. So we're like the first line of defense, and everything trickles down to us. If it's like an engineering problem, if it's a visual audio problem, housekeeping, whatever the fuck, it's like it goes to us, and they complain and bitch and moan to us like we're the guys. It's our fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the perks of working in service.
So are you like the person that Freddie Gibbs posted that video where the dude was cursing at him? Are you like that guy?
Pretty much. I'm that guy.
So you just have people come down and just be like, you're a horrible piece of shit, you deserve to die?
Yes, because of something out of my control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that video.
And that industry is extremely stressful, just like any service industry, working at a restaurant or, anything, anywhere where you deal with customers face to face.
Entitlement.
Yeah, entitlement. There's a lot of entitlement that comes with that when you visit those places. And we're very hardworking people, and they don't know about, they don't know shit about the working class, a lot of people, because they're probably trust fund babies, or they probably come from a wealthy, affluent family. And even some of those people don't even tip people, because I guess they think you make a living wage or some shit.
It's also that boomer generation that bred the whole the customer's always right bullshit that's now like embedded in American culture. That is the most bullshit thing.
Yeah, and the ironic thing is like a lot of them will try to ask for shit for free, and I'm like, no, like here you're gonna pay for some shit if you want like an upgrade to your room or something like that.
Dude, I can see if it's like a Motel 6, but don't go to a fucking hotel in Center City and expect some free shit.
Exactly.
You're going to somewhere because you want to go to somewhere nicer than the generic places, the Chamonix and the Motel 6, the crack house motels and all that shit. You're going to a 3.5 and above. You need to know what comes with going to 3.5 and above. You're paying a deposit. You're paying if you fuck shit up. You're paying for that.
Exactly.
If you want some extra shit, you're paying for that. If you want a microwave in your room, you're paying for that.
And a refrigerator, you're paying for it.
I just don't understand how people are so stupid.
Parking is not included. The fuck out of here. You're parking in the city, bro. You're not getting anywhere for free or cheap.
Do you get that sometimes when people come in with their luggage and expect you to carry it off for free?
Yes, it's for free. They will have like yesterday I was the only person on duty, and like people had like 4 or 5 bags. I put them all on my back and shit and carried them out. No fucking tip.
Nope.
No tip at all. And they're pretty fucking wealthy people. wealthy folks. It's ridiculous.
That's the fuck
It's
shit.
disgusting.
Like, bulls have money in there.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're stingy.
Like,
What are
I'm
we
bringing
doing?
out Louis Vuitton bags and shit.
Right.
And then I'm like, oh, this is a nice bag. Louis Vuitton. Like, you got money, right? Okay. Oh, yeah, thanks, man.
Not even a 10 spot. Not even a 5 spot.
No.
Do you feel like it's bad to expect tips though? In the service industry?
Not really. Like, like, if I have positive banter with the person or whatever, but it's like at the same time, if you clearly like manifest wealth, like you wear like designer clothing.
You're showing your ass.
Yes, you're showing exactly. You know what I mean? So put your money where your mouth is, and like, hey man, like compensate people for their service. You know what I mean? I think that's totally fair and within your right to somewhat expect it, not be entitled to it.
Do you feel like it's just like not just American culture, but just the human nature now? Just like I pay for what I pay for, I don't need to pay anything else. Like, hey, this room is $200 per night. Let's given. At your hotel, it's probably $200 per night for a decent room. Okay, I paid $200. I'm not paying a cent more. I'm not paying a cent less. They don't think about, once again, the security deposit. They're not thinking about
No, they don't.
you be carrying their bag. They don't care about parking. And when they hear that thing, they're like, wait, why didn't you put it on the front page in 4K? And for me to see, they're like, nah.
Yeah.
This doesn't exist in my world. Even though it exists, and they know it, they just want to deny it because they didn't see it on the paper.
Yeah, I think a lot of those people are full of shit because I've had several guests come in, right? Especially like last week, a couple weeks that I've been back, and they get to the front desk, traveling from bumblefuck wherever, and they're checking in, and they're staying for several nights. That's $100 a night in my job, and they're looking at me like I just spoke a different language to them. And I'm like, what the fuck was your plan? People don't even have $100 or $200 for just 2 nights.
Go to a Motel
and they look at me like I'm crazy.
6.
Like I have to work out a deal with them. I'm like, you can cancel your reservation. You're more than welcome to, but you're not staying here. The fuck?
See, the crazy thing is, like, that's not actually that expensive for a hotel for
It's
$100
not.
per night. Because when I was in Texas, I paid $175 per night.
But it's like, where the fuck do you think you're staying? Like, that's the thing. I
Motel
need to know.
Sixes
Like,
are like the fucking. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's different in fucking Philly, but like the ones that are in our area are $69.99 for Motel Sixes. So like, what, you're paying $30 more and you're getting a higher value shit. So expect to pay more.
Yeah. So the thing about Philadelphia is that there's like several different types of taxes along with that too. Like there's a city occupancy tax and shit like that. So it's a little bit different. So that's why it's more expensive to stay in a hotel inside of a big city like Philadelphia.
Oh yeah, because parking and everything else, zoning, I guess.
Exactly. So people,
I forgot about that.
I don't know where the fuck they think they're staying. You got this far. What the fuck were you gonna do? Were you just gonna live in your room for like the 1-2 nights or whatever and just not pay for it? You have to eat. You have to. You know what I mean? You have to. The fuck?
Do you guys have a I don't want you to give too much information, but do you guys have like a restaurant inside of your place?
Yeah.
Yes,
we
but do you guys have one of those cafes that people go to in the morning?
It's not complimentary or free though. We
I
do
mean,
have like a little stand,
like a fake Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we don't. Yeah, pretty much.
The Continental or whatever?
No, we don't have. We used to, but right now since COVID hit the industry so hard, we don't. Yeah. So there's no room service currently, and there's no continental breakfast.
I feel like that's another reason why a lot of people are not trying to spend the full dollar because they're knowing that they're getting it at a discount, and they're not getting the full service. Because that was a part of the reason why I was kind of upset. Like when I went to Texas, I'm sorry I'm bringing up a lot, but it's my most recent hotel experience. We didn't get room service every day like you would at a regular hotel. We didn't get the breakfast because COVID and shit.
Yeah.
The cafe was still open, but once again you had to pay. So it's like, even on an airplane, it's like I'm not even getting the full fucking service I paid for it. So like, why pay more? Subconsciously I thought that, but I'm like, nah, like I'm gonna make someone else feel like shit because I'm gonna be like, why? I'm asking all this why. I was like, dude, it's a fucking pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
I should be happy I'm able to travel and do stuff again.
That's true, and especially here in Philly.
That's the issue in Philly.
Yeah, in Philly, and we were like one of the last places to fully open back up and lift the mask mandate and etc. Other places, it's like night and day. You know, they weren't even living through a pandemic. They were like, oh, we got to wear a mask. And they only did that for like 2 seconds. And then they were like, oh, masks off. You know,
Florida
Florida
did it for like
Texas.
literally
Florida
for
didn't
3
give a
weeks.
fuck.
Florida's not even
They give
Their
a shit.
quarantine ended when it was supposed to end.
Florida man is immune to this
Like-
shit. His body different.
Like
It doesn't
April
feel good.
1st, whatever it was supposed to end the first
Yeah.
time, that's when COVID ended for
Yeah, so
them.
people come to our hotel and they're just like, wait, you guys don't have this, you guys don't have that. What's why is everybody wearing masks? Like, what is this? It's like a different universe. It's like Twilight Zone. I'm like, bro, like, do you watch the news? Like, what the
Where
fuck?
have you been?
Where have you been, dude? Like, did we not just have a pandemic?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, on the upside though, last night I met Conway. That was really cool. Yeah,
From Griselda.
from Griselda. Yeah,
Conway the Machine.
he's a really chill dude, man. We do get a couple celebrities here and there. Again, I can't give up too much information because like my job depends on it. But like, it's really cool working in this industry because you get to meet really cool celebrities, rappers. He's a down to earth dude, man. It's really I fuck with his
Dude,
music.
imagine he was just faking like his whole face being like that because he got shy, and then like you just walk up and see
He's
him,
completely
and his face is just straight.
Oh shit!
Like he's just
Oh
capping
my
like.
god! Nah, but he was like you know, people like they wear shades, masked up,
Mm-hmm.
hoodies, all type of shit. You know what I mean? Because who you know their identity, whatever. I don't know, but
Definitely since Benny got shot like last summer.
yeah, and then like shit like that, and like you don't even know what type of niggas are in Philly looking for whoever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you live that life, whatever. But nah, man, he's a chill dude, really dope guy.
Which is rare because most celebrities in hotels are like kind of pieces of shit.
yeah, true.
We literally had a song "Take Her to the Holiday Inn." So
Oh, right. But it was just funny because like he put his ID down on the you know you have to
yeah,
ask a
verify.
guest for verification of ID, so you know you're checking in the right person for security reasons, blah blah blah. Puts his ID down and it's like his his name, and then you have search in his system, and then like I saw like New York and I saw the picture. I was like, oh shit, that's fucking Conway. I was like, no fucking way, bro. Like this is no fucking way. Like I was like, oh shit, it is. Like that's wild. That was cool. It was cool.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's my
Is that
upset.
how you brought it up? You were just like, oh shit, that's why.
Yeah. But I can't like what I mean, like we're not really allowed to take pictures with celebrities unless they like consent to it, or if they like, hey, like you want to take a picture, we can't be like, yo, can I take a picture with you?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so we
You get on a location and shit. You're giving up.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just like, yeah, I'll fuck with your music, whatever, and I'll give you an upgrade to the room free of charge, like because they fucked up his reservation some type of way. So I was like, yeah, man.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah. Then they did like a cipher at the end, like when I was leaving out of work, they were doing like a cipher in the lobby and shit,
Nice.
and it was really funny because like
Are you on camera?
No, I might be because I walked into it by accident because I came off the elevator and he's there and all his homies are just around. I'm like, the fuck is going on? I gave him like, all right, bro, have a good night. And then I looked to my fucking right and everybody's got cameras. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, what's going on? I guess they were all filming the cipher and shit. I think I might have fucked it up walking to the
They cut the whole thing because of that
right.
shit.
And then like I walked all the way to the end of the hall and started recording. And then like there was there's a wedding going on at the hotel. Like there's actually like a couple this weekend. So like I guess like all the bridesmaid and like whoever walked to the lobby, and they accidentally walked into it, like, oh, they were all like in the back and like, what's going on? Like what is this? And like they were just freestyling and shit, cursing and saying, shut up, bitch, da 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 da.
Love
And
it.
she's like, oh my god, like in the background you could just hear it.
Clutching her pearls.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's
The
a shocking
nerve.
language.
The mitigated call.
But yeah, that was my upside to my week. Great
Cool.
long week.
The
Small world.
the short and sweet of my week, besides like recovering off the vaccine and shit, I played a shit ton of video games, and I wanted to do that transition to that, but like, I played a shit ton of RPGs. Naturally, that's what I do, and it was just like I'll wake up, I'll re-download a game. As you saw, I was playing like a lot of God Eater. I was playing Crusader Kings 3, and then I went back and played Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And I'm like going for that again. It was just like,
Let's see about the remaster.
I was like, I remember when BioWare used to make good
Yeah.
games.
Yeah.
I remember good story video games, and it's weird now where like I don't like anything new. Like for like the last, I would say, 6 years of video games, I can't name one that I was just like, well, besides Persona, but like in terms of like Western release like games that I was just like goo goo gaga for. Like I ride it to death. But yeah, that was my vibe. We're gonna get into that later about like RPGs, but yeah, I played a shit ton of video games, and it was great going back in my backlog and just seeing like, oh, childhood. But going into our first topic.
All right, so we're gonna be pretty much the main topic of the entire episode is the illusion of choice. Now we're gonna cover a couple things that are going on in recent events with Sha'Carri Richardson, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
She is a Olympic track star who was like number 1 in the world, I think, like fastest woman in the world
in America.
In America, excuse me.
Because you already know Jamaica's gonna run the motherfuckers out. I hate that argument because we're all pro America and shit, but like.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Wagwan. Like, come on, man. We already know who's going to fucking
She's
win.
fast. She's supposedly the fastest woman in the world. Supposedly. That's what they're calling her, but I don't know. America. Well,
get it right.
But, you know, she can't... She was barred from competing because she got banned for about, like, what was it, like 3 week suspension?
She got a month suspension.
suspension.
And the crazy thing about it, because she smoked weed,
yeah.
is like... if... She still could have competed on one of the races still, but the Olympic teams were like, nah, you're just not doing that at all. And it's like, I don't know. What's your stance on that? Because I was like, hey, she does it 3 weeks, she gets to go back to the team. But are they doing this just to show like, you know, hey, we're not flying with that shit? Like, we don't...
Yeah, I honestly concur. I think that if you're competing at that top level, you know what I mean, like the Olympics, that's major, that's huge.
It's not LSU, it's not your high school track team. Like, even then you know what to do. So like, if your whole life, this is millions of dollars, you could have been on the Wheaties box, given the climate that we're in, the black woman with the orange hair with the nails and
looking like Starfire,
like literally, like
so cool.
Dude, Starfire from the CW version.
Oh god.
But seriously, like, you had the whole bag. And like, I saw Whack 100 the game and a couple other rappers like call her out, which is very hypocritical. It's like, but regardless, they make a good point. Like,
they do. I
you
agree.
build your whole life for this, and like,
and that quickly it can just all come falling down. You fumbled the bag a bit. And I totally agree. Again, if you compete at such a high level for the Olympics, I think that you should definitely put all that stuff on the back burner and have like that studio mode mindset where you just like focus on that thing that's very important to you. Like, fuck all the shit. Like, for instance, like if you're an Olympic bodybuilder or sportswoman, whatever, an athlete, you don't put junk food into your body because it'll fuck you up. You don't go out drinking the night before. You know what I mean? Like. And again, like I completely condone smoking weed or whatever. Like, you know, if you need to sleep, if you're dealing with issues, she just lost her mom. Shit like that. Like, I totally understand. But I think like that could wait. You know what I mean? I think like you should be focused on competing first. I think like you should medicate in other ways that are, you know, not revolved around smoking weed or drinking or anything like that. I think that you know, some of the rappers did make valid points. I agree with them,
and this is like the one of the few times where like I'm looking at like right wing pundits like comment on shit. I'm just like, damn it.
Yeah.
Damn it. And like I see like fucking like Sean King, like left people like just bringing up like, oh, it's because she's a black woman. It's like it's the fucking world. It's not America, like where we're so focused on race. Like, and the funny thing is, everybody's mostly doping during the Olympics. Like, there's a reason why Russia's not like able to compete, and because like they got caught for that shit. And like,
Russians were some Russian bro.
Like,
they were super soldiers. Like there was no fucking way that
Jordan Burroughs, who's a wrestler for the Olympic team for like the last couple of times, he literally brought it up. Like, most of those dudes were juicing that he had to go against.
Hell yeah.
And he still won. So it's like, I guess my totality and point, fucked it up. Ew, gross. Leave it in.
That's what she said.
My point on that is just like everybody's dealing with something in the Olympics, no matter what. You're like, people, family dies. You literally, like any type of art, any type of sport, you throw away everything that's part of your outside world. You're not the only person who had their parents die. You're not the only black person there. You're not the only woman there. You're not the only, like, you can't just go on these little and she took it gracefully.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
she
Yeah.
owns it.
Mhm.
It's just like people making arguments for her, like, oh, we understand. It's like, yeah, but what are you doing with your life, though?
Yeah.
You're putting her on your level, and like, not saying she's better than you, but she is competing at a higher rate than 1% of humans are able to do.
Exactly. Mind you, like I gotta commend her because she ran this fast with weed lungs. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty fucking impressive.
If you looked up the scientific thing, it actually benefits in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, because THC relaxes you.
Right.
Apparently, the read is an article. We
Yeah.
have the link in our description. It relaxes you. So if you are dealing with like hyper anxiety, you can have quote unquote tunnel vision. And you can focus better. So if you're more relaxed, and another athletes who dealing with hyper anxiety because they're not doping, you kind of do have a competitive advantage, quote unquote. Take it with a grain of salt. And you are using something like CBD or something like that. You are using something to relax you and calm you down, which gives you a competitive advantage. It's not like you're juicing steroids and you're like putting a needle in your ass, but it's like you're still fucking enhancing your performance by taking away the mental aspect of dealing with anxiety and depression.
Couldn't you also argue that it depends on how it affects the person? Because like THC and weed like affects different people differently and that type deal. Like I know there's some science behind that probably. I've not done this research, but I don't know. I just feel like that feels like a cop out.
Yeah,
for me.
that feels like.
I'm just saying it's an argument.
I get it, but like at the same time, it's like nah, it's bullshit. It doesn't. It's not gonna help you on like a competitive level. Like I mean, like I think being anxious to really like win, or like if you get in the cage, like beat somebody's ass, like fucking Nate Diaz or whatever. Like he smokes a bunch of fucking pot, but like
that's true too. That's because that was a whole thing for the Diaz brothers and the UFC. Like they smoked weed and shit, and there wasn't like. They weren't doing steroids or TRT, testosterone replacement, like Vito Buff or allegedly Alistair Overeem, where like that is literally saying, hey, going behind the table, hey, my dick's not working, I need TRT, and then they look like fucking Godzilla, like
it's wild, bro.
And that actually is a competitive advantage.
Yeah,
but smoking weed is on levels of, hey, this is literally steroids to, hey, is a slight enhancement. I would put weed at literally the lowest point. The lowest point. Yeah. But it's always different for every person. Like, I can do 200 milligrams and knock it high.
Right. And, like, at the same time, you can say, like, oh, I could pop a fucking couple of melatonin or sniff some lavender or put some lavender lotion on and be calm and chill. And, like, that would give me a competitive edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't really make it, I don't know. It's a cop-out. It's bullshit. But at the same time, again, I think we can unanimously agree that, like, weed, it should be, like, regulated in, like, Olympic competition. It should be like
are you thinking from an American perspective? Because
no, I mean like all throughout.
We just
like,
came
Olympic,
around it.
Right.
We just came around to it being illegal here. They're going to get places like Iran.
Yeah. I'm saying like several countries have made it legal. Like
but not all.
No, like not all. And I'm saying like in America, like I think that should be excluded, and I think that like people should not be using any type of like. You know, you can use that on the off season.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like Michael Phelps did.
Exactly. And that's another thing too, the Michael Phelps thing, even though it's not the same situation. Even though Michael Phelps used it in a different time afterwards, like on the off season, and a lot of people tore him down too, you know what I mean? It's the same situation, but it's like, again, different. Same, but different. But I definitely think that if you're going to compete at this high of a level, you shouldn't use anything like that. Just, you know, because again, that gets in the way of you being a competitor, you being a star athlete. You know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, hey, these are the rules and regulations that come with being here. If you want to play the game, you have to play by these rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, doesn't mean that weed is horrible or that these athletes should never use any drugs or there isn't a medical use for any of these things.
Of course.
It just means like, hey, in this competition, we don't allow any of these external variables. End of story. And I think that should go for like all drugs, like roids, fucking all that shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, if you're competing at this level, we don't care what you do in your off time, but when you are representing our country in front of the world, you are a sober athlete.
Precisely.
Because how do you think you get on that Wheaties box? How do you have this? So there's a standard that you need to live by, on paper, not in real life, because everybody's capping. But like on paper, you need to look like the most pristine human being. You need to literally look like you're better than all of us.
Yeah, you have to be like a competitive robot, pretty much.
Yeah,
like
and
you have to be perfect.
The same reason.
Great role model.
Yeah, the same reason why we got mad at Naomi. Well, we didn't get mad, but people got mad at Naomi Osaka for pulling out.
Yeah.
Because like you have this expectation we put on our athletes, like you are role models for our children. You are literally like the thing that's gonna make my daughter or my son or my child be the best person they can be. Not me, not the parent, but
the athlete that you don't even know.
That I'm buying on this box, or I'm watching the Ella interview, or I'm watching the Tonight Show. You are the role model, so you need to be perfect all the time, and that's mentally a lot. Like for someone like someone coming into fame, like Sha'Carri, yeah, like she's coming into fame.
Yeah,
like. I can understand their anxiety coming with that too. Like you are one at, you can handle it or you can't. But like you're just a regular person one day, and the next minute you're in everybody's mouth.
Exactly, you're on top of the fucking world. In the snap of a finger, that quick.
Definitely during the fucking Olympics, dude. Like you are That's literally huge. Representing America, our values, what we care about, all that fake shit.
True. And then I think I want to segue into another incident with Naomi Osaka where she didn't show up for a press event, which is
at the Wimbledon.
Say again?
Was it the Wimbledon or?
I don't remember where she was supposed to go, but it was after a big tournament she played in or something like that, and she didn't show at the press conference, and that's usually mandatory for athletes to do so. Otherwise, they are fined, and a pretty hefty fucking amount, a ridiculous amount actually, for not showing up. And this has happened in the past to other athletes. This is the reason why they show up, and they're not very thrilled to be there. From a lot of interviews in the past with like, let me see, who could I think of? I don't really watch sports, but like a lot of basketball players and football players, again, like a lot of them are not very thrilled to be there, and they're not enthusiastic.
It's almost like we're still in a pandemic or something.
Not only that, but it's just like it's like you yeah, but it's like also just like it's a lot of mental weight, and just like you're tired, you don't want to be there, you played a game, whatever, you may have gotten like your shit kicked in. Like, your team just did not do very well that night, whatever. And then people are going to interview you and kind of, like, put salt in the wound and be like...
What went wrong?
Yeah, just like, well,
How do you fuck up?
Exactly.
How do you lose it for all of us? How are you the disappointment?
Exactly. How'd you fumble that touchdown? Shit like that. So, it was a pretty much legitimate reason, in my opinion, I guess. I would say so. She was... more so concerned about her mental health, and that's the reason why she didn't want to be there. And I think a lot of that goes along with your image too, like what we talked about being anxious and having sort of like this, like the different tendencies of anxiety when you're being up there on a podium to talk about certain shit, especially like maybe how you fucked up here, or maybe you didn't get enough sleep last night, or what's going on in your personal life. You have to talk about those. Well, sometimes you can't, but depends on who the person is. But like, you have to be up there and portray your best self in the best light. Because
like, if you watch shows like First Things First, or First Take, or Undisputed with Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless, it's like those shows will break down your character.
Yeah.
They will break down an athlete's character. They will break down everything they're about and basically say, hey, you don't want to be there. You don't deserve the money. They did that shit with Kwame Brown.
Yeah.
What made Stephen A. Smith so famous was back in like 2005 when Kwame Brown went to the Lakers and got traded. And they were like, Kwame Brown, a bona fide scrub. And literally will like break down his play all the time.
It's like Don King.
And yeah, it was like, I think it was the 2001 draft. I watched a lot of sports. He was the number 1 overall pick from, high school, coming out of high school. They stopped doing it around 2005. Andrew Biden was the last one, regardless. Fun facts. But yeah, so it was Michael Jordan's first pick because he retired and he went to Washington. So yeah, there was all this expectation on him, and he turned out to be quote unquote a bust. And a bust is someone who just doesn't fulfill potential and all that shit. They feel like they're wasting money. Then the fans hate them. They feel like that could have went to a different player. You get buyer's remorse, even though that whole draft class was kind of trash. But it's like for this 10, 12 years he was in the NBA, every single day Stephen A. Smith or some other host would be like, "You are horrible." And then the fans will be like, "Kill yourself." If you're a Philadelphia fan, we know that for a fact.
Oh my God.
We have one of the most toxic fan bases.
So toxic. Eagles fans, too.
Eagle fans, Sixers fans, Flyer fans, fucking Philadelphia Soul.
Oh God, not the Soul.
Like, we only got 4 teams in the arena football. And motherfuckers going crazy about that. It's like,
it's just wild.
Your fan... Everybody will break down you as an athlete. So I can imagine, yes, you're getting paid a lot of money, but money is not everything when you're like, have to go around. People are like, yo, you deserve to die. So I can imagine like Naomi Osaka, where it's not a team sport. It is, but it's not really, where it's just they're only looking at you perform. Just not your trainers, your coach. They're just looking at you. And when you fuck up, you. And imagine that when you're already dealing with mental issues, when you're already dealing with
it's like working in the service industry.
Literally, and you're people pleasing. Exactly. You have 2 countries. You have America and you
Japan.
have Haiti and Japan. Yeah. Both of them are like looking at you like,
especially the Japanese. They take pride in everything they do.
Yes,
especially athleticism.
And they don't even
and their craft.
And like, think about it. You have everybody looking at you. You are like the standard bearer for not just one country, for 2.
Yeah, and being black and Japanese.
Yes. Yeah. Like, and like on top of political shit, like the whole Haitian president is just being assassinated. Like, they're gonna tie in everything into, and you think I'm saying some wild shit, like it's a tangent or some shit. No, they will tie in anything to like your character, and like. Sometimes you wonder why some of these athletes get drug addictions. Some of them kill themselves, regardless if they have CT in a combat sport or something like that. It's crazy. So her taking time away to like focus on her so she can have a better life, how's that an issue?
Yeah, exactly. It shouldn't be an issue at all. People should be taking care of themselves.
We shouldn't glorify it either. It shouldn't be like one that's saying like, she's just an amazing person. No, this is what people are supposed to do.
Yeah, and she's young. Like, she's very young.
She's like 23, 22 years old.
She's very aware of her, like, where she stands with her mental health. It's sort of like a new concept to people in modern day like time.
Yeah, there's a lot of pushback against it. Definitely, like, if you're bringing it up like a person of color, like, what, you're thinking about your mental health?
Mental health? What is that?
We never talked about that in sports.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Literally, like... Sports always had that mindset. Like, you see it with the Mike Tyson shit. You see it with like Muhammad Ali. Yeah. No matter what it is, like, they're just like, oh, wait, you're human?
Yeah, I actually want to talk about that real quick. The Muhammad Ali situation, like, where like one of his last fights when the Parkinson's in his body really started to develop, and he fought the very man that he trained, and then he started to talk mad shit about Muhammad Ali like later on in life.
Yep.
Still, like, Muhammad Ali, despite his onset Parkinson's disease, like, he still fought that man in the condition that he was in, and that was amazing. And I think he was one of the greatest athletes to, wear the boxing gloves and actually, like, stay true to who he was.
And think about, like, all the Vietnam War where he essentially had to take away from the sport. Think about all he sacrificed.
Exactly.
And we're just we glorify it now, and everybody says like he was so brave and whatnot. But during that time, you have half of the people saying, "Oh, you're a hero," and half of the people saying you should deserve to go to hell or go to jail at the most. And like,
oh, you didn't serve your country, you piece of shit.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, we look through like shit with rose-colored glasses now, but in the past, like, no, they were facing struggles.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wasted 3 years of his prime.
Yeah.
For what? That's how people look at it. It's like, damn, wasted 3 years. No, you were standing for something. The same thing that's going on with Colin Kaepernick for like the last couple of years. We're going to look at it 20, 30 years from now like, damn, he was brave. But a lot of us are like, even us in our community is like, oh man, you fucked up the bag.
Yeah. It's a bigger issue than that. Money isn't everything.
No.
It's nice to have money. It's nice to be wealthy, but even so, like, majority of athletes, they only, they'll make like a good like couple million or whatever, and then they'll blow it on the during the off season where they don't get paid because they only get paid when they compete. That's why a lot of them go broke. A lot of them don't have any money at the end of their career.
And they're young.
They're young, blowing their money on pointless bullshit instead of investing it over time.
Today's athletes way smarter now. I don't think we're gonna see that in our generation of athletes. Mostly, hopefully not. But because like we're more financially literate now, we know that the world that we came into is really fucked up.
Yes.
And we know more about mental health
Thanks,
now.
boomers.
Yeah, no, seriously, like we're so aware of like the world that we were inherited. So we're like, yo, let's actually have a mental health day.
Yes.
It sounds quote unquote weak. It sounds like, oh my God, you guys don't know how to handle a 7-day work week, or you don't know how to deal with the struggles of being an athlete. We did it. But then look at you now. Like, look at current 50-year-old you now. You don't have a handle on life. You have anger issues still at 50. Like, you're an alcoholic. You have gambling addictions. But back in the day, we were men or we were women or blah, 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 blah. It's like, you're like, that's why you got bad knees, motherfucker. Even now, we're doing, like, the next generation after us, we're going to be like, yo, we lived during a pandemic.
That's pretty impressive.
Like, and we're not going to consider what they're going through, like, as important. Like, their problems that they're going to inherit from us. So, well, in full circle, take care of your fucking mental health. Also, follow the rules.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'd say follow the rules. Don't do anything to impede on you being number one again, being like on top of the world that quickly, and just to fumble the bag as quickly. I think that there are other ways to self-medicate. Maybe that may be isolation. Some people do it in different ways.
Sports therapists.
There you go. Sports therapists. Get a massage. Do meditate. I think that in Miss Osaka's case, she's very mature. She's very young for her age to be fully aware of like where she stands with her mental.
Young for age.
Whatever. She's young. I'm gonna say young and whatever. She's mature for making those decisions instead of
pushing through it.
Yeah, pushing through it.
Never a good idea.
Yeah.
We could all speak on pushing through something and then it doesn't turn out good.
Yeah. And she again, I think she made the right choice to be like, hey, I'm not feeling okay. It's okay to not be okay. You know what I mean? So take time off, get some rest, get some sleep. Do what you got to do to be in the right place again, be in the right state of mind.
So at the end of the day, you're the most important. And if you fuck up your mental health, your physical health, like you aren't hitting that interview. You aren't making anything.
No.
You're fucking your shit up.
Exactly. And I know we like to sort of beat a dead horse with the whole, or use it to make fun of people in their like mental situation, but like we used to use like the Britney in like 06 or whatever like situation, but like 10 plus years down the road we found out like all the abuse and shit she was dealing with.
Yep.
And that's a huge issue that they're still talking about right now. Everything's coming to light. Everything, this
she
court
couldn't
case
even drive a car.
Like,
you're pushing 40.
She couldn't even take an IUD. She couldn't even make her own money. Like, that's fucking Britney fucking Spears. Oops, I did it again. I play with your heart.
Dude. It's like...
Oh, baby.
And that goes back to talking about, like, you saying, like, our generation's more aware of mental health. Is, like, now, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, when people are more aware of mental health, they're like, damn, this is what we're putting people through. And, like, all of us who are grown, who, like, watched her in her peak, are like, damn, like, this is what pop stars go through. This is what athletes go through. This is what these high-paid celebrities who we put on this pedestal, they go through this shit too. Like, they're human. They need to take care of themselves, and they get taken advantage of.
I think you posted it in the Discord a few months ago, and we were supposed to talk about when we're like last time we were supposed to record Danny Brown video about mental health.
Yes, yeah.
and like it was a music video about it. It's just like, yeah, you think because it's cool to have money, but it's not cool to have fame. Money gives you freedom. Fame gives you too much access to you.
Yeah.
Like reality TV, the camera's always on you, paparazzi following you, like the Kanye West video where like he's getting in his car and like Kanye West, fuck you.
That shit every Monday. That's every Monday.
Dude, it's like
makes my week.
And we're thinking like, oh, he's being an asshole, but it's like, no, dude. Just imagine you don't have private moments.
No, you don't.
No, like you said, you gain freedom with money, you lose freedom with fame.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can bend the system to your will. You can avoid taxes with, privacy.
Yeah.
Get out of cancel.
You literally, there's a lot of people who are super rich that we never know what they do because they have money. Yeah. But when you add a little bit of fame, the Harvey Weinsteins of the world, the Kevin Spaceys of the world, the Bill Cosbys of the world, like.
Oh man, yeah. No, yeah, I agree though. Yeah, that all those dudes just got Scott. Yeah.
Yeah. All you do is free Bill Cosby.
Dude.
That's like, bro. But to talk more about that, like, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You do lose like your privacy. You know, like you lose all that with fame. And
does that concern you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
by doing shit like this and doing like things in the future.
Not entirely. Like I don't really think I would ever reach like that height of fame. It'd be cool, but I mean it's not impossible. And I want to speak it into existence, but I wouldn't let it bother me too much. I was just like, hey man, yep, that's me.
So
what? It's like the situation like where I met Conway or any celebrity that I've met in my life. But it's just like,
well, you were super chill about it,
right? As
being a civilian.
Yeah.
I mean, they're civilians too, but you are cool with being a non-famous person.
Right.
But imagine you get the obnoxious. Can I take a picture with you? And you're like, you just buried your dead cat or some shit.
Right. But it's like, all right, but like just like this. So I was gonna tie it back to another situation that recently happened with like Justin Bieber when he was checking into his home. You know, he's going home and he was saying like, hey. Yeah, like this is my house. I just want to come home, go to sleep, lay down. Like y'all can't be out here like that. That's like, stop it, please. Like I'm going in right now. Leave the premises, please. That's just how I would take it, honestly.
What about the person who doesn't take no for an answer and says you're a piece of shit because you?
Well, hey, like that's fine.
Why did they try to put hands on you? That's why you got
security. I would have to defend myself. Yeah, I would have security, or I would take matters in my own hands. But it's like you're not gonna harass me in my home because in your home you have castle doctrine.
Sure.
You know, but
what about you, Matt? In terms of like, you're working on shit now. What about you? If you get that super obnoxious, are you worried about being famous?
I am. I would be worried about being famous in the sense of the lack of privacy thing. I am a very introverted person, so I like my alone time, and I like to be, in my own space, secluded. So the idea of losing that, or the idea of the voyeurism of it, of like, are people looking through your windows? Are people watching your every?
The weird snapshot from the side.
Yeah, like that type shit is kind of concerning, but at the same time, like, I don't know, I love people and I'm very personable, so I don't think like the annoying fan would bother me who's like, oh my god, like hanging off my side or like following me. It would be less of that and more of the like intrusion of privacy. I think that would fuck.
Like they're in your backyard, just chilling, trying to snap a picture of you, like having
sex.
If I
could go live in the woods to fucking like get away from people, like that's an issue.
Yeah,
I agree.
I feel like for me, since I'm doing something, I mean, I would say in your case, both of your cases, because you do art and you're doing more studio work, you guys are more behind the scene guys. So it's like, it's easier for you to, well now, not now because we're doing a podcast and people can see our faces, but like, it's easy for you to like hide away from it.
True.
So like for someone like me who's doing like shit like stand up and doing shit more outside, it concerns me a lot because even though I'm hella extroverted, I do like having times where I'm just like, I need to be inside my own head to create more shit. And if someone just intruding at, like, it's the reason why I don't live in Philly, because I like silence. And if like someone's in my backyard disturbing my silence, it's like, or I'm at a supermarket and I'm playing my music or something like that, it's like, is this gonna change me? Is this gonna make me more toxic? Is this gonna make me more like not friendly? Because I'm hella polite to everybody, and you guys see how I am, and like I'm worried that it's gonna take away from that. like take away my character and change my character. Because if you see early interviews of like any pop star or anyone, they're like super humble and shit. But then like 5 years down the line, they're like, they either love it or they hate it so much that they're like, anytime they see a TMZ, a T,
Yeah.
like they're like, shut the fuck up. Please shut the fuck up.
Get away from me. Leave me alone.
So yeah, that's my only concern. But no, I want to find ways even now doing this, even if I only have like 100 viewers. It's like I'm still trying to find ways to keep me intact, like do check-ins on myself, because I know not just my friends are looking at me. It's like we literally have motherfuckers in fucking China looking at us.
Yeah.
Like you got to think about it. It's a global thing now. So it's
True.
like
I agree. My only other concern about being famous would be like being exposed to other famous people. For instance, I was just watching this documentary on the fashion industry of this male model who he had his face concealed and everything like that, and his voice distorted to preserve his identity. And he spoke about like what goes on in the fashion industry. This is no new news to anyone really, or in the entertainment industry at all. If you want to make it big, you got to suck this guy's cock.
yo,
You want to make it big, or you want to really have your name up in the in the billboard. You got to have sex with this person. You got to do
Terry
this
Crews situation.
Yeah, Terry Crews situation. That shit's very real. Like all that shit. It's again like it's like the black people thing. It's like we've been trying to tell y'all the truth for years. Y'all ain't want to listen. Like, but nobody want to.
Wait, so you're more concerned about like selling your quote unquote selling your soul for
right,
fame?
do
Do you feel the same?
Or
I'd probably do it willingly.
So, yeah, certain shit like that, man. Like you may like, oh man, like come to this mansion party, and then come to find out like everyone's just having like
Sex with children.
orgies or just or like some shit like that. And you're like, oh, what the fuck? Like, and you're like, you may be like on an island or some shit. Like you might have got there via like a yacht or like a boat or like.
Or like
something
Jeffrey Epstein.
Oh god, like like a whole fucking island like flown out and shit, and I'm like shit like that is kind of scary. You're like, oh, like I'm gonna go to fucking Disneyland. It's like fucking.
Is it weird that I'm like not the wild illegal shit, but like I want access to that type of shit, like not that type of shit, but like, oh, this is exclusive. Leave your phone in the bin, like
type of shit.
Like
no pictures.
we're famous, but we're private right now, so like we can enjoy us. Like I could just see you without the mask, without the persona, like the real you. And it's like I kind of want. Part of the reason why I'm getting into the industry of like comedy and shit like that is like I want to see, like I hear stories about it. I watch a lot of interviews and documentary, but it's like no, I want to be a fly on the wall. Like I want to see what actually happens, and like if it's as crazy, if we romanticize it because everybody loves a good conspiracy theory. If it's most tame shit like motherfuckers just playing Dungeons and Dragons and shit or Pathfinder, like I want to be there. So it's like part of me hopes it's not the horrible, heinous shit, but like if it's like some weird sex party with everybody consenting. And a little bit of Lamborghini doors.
Oh my fucking god!
Like legs up. I'm just saying, like, hear me out. It's a metaphor, but like,
Did I get my ass eaten for fame?
dude, like, if I had like a famous like supermodel who was like married and she had kids, but she really a freak on it and like doing some cluckhole shit, what's your stance on that? And it's behind closed door, private. Are you saying no? She motherfucker from Zimbabwe.
Think about the children.
Man, fuck
Mike.
them kids. On God, on GD. Seriously, fuck them kids. And we're in a private place, and you're like supermodel wife from like from Zimbabwe. Whatever. I'm just saying, I want to access. So, the next topic that we're talking about is the illusion of choice. So going back to my intro, I've been playing a lot of old school RPGs, or last generations to 2 generations ago RPGs, and storytelling was way better back then than it is now. I was talking about Mass Effect, and then I started playing Dragon Age Origins again. And it just seems like in those games, the ending were more open based rather than you just get one ending and that's it. Like, spoiler alert for Mass Effect, or
It's lazy writing.
it's lazy writing. So Dragon Age Origins, yes, you defeat the Archdemon at the end. Spoiler alert. But depending on your origin story, elf, dwarf, or I'm sorry if this sounds really nerdy. I love this shit. Sorry. Fuck you. If you do the dwarf story, if you're the noble or the commoner, or if you're doing the mage, which is like the elf mage or the elf commoner or the elf tribal, the Dalish elf, or the human noble or whatever, regardless, it's like the origin story is so fucking good. And then your choices based off that, you can actually go full circle and like, hey, I'm from the circle, which is the mage order. I want the Templar to stop oppressing them. You free them up. Or you can be like, fuck the circle. I want all mages to be like tranquil and super wash over, all that shit. It felt way more open base. And I love that shit. And then you go to like literally Dragon Age 2, which is like one of the worst games of all time, and nothing matters. They get rid of all your choices that you made, nothing matters. And then at the end, you're like Mage Templar War, I guess. And then Inquisition that gets rid of it in one section. It's just like, what am I, did I make a choice? I carry over the choices. Do they matter? Do not matter. And a lot of new games are just streamlined in terms of choices. Like, they give you the illusion of choice. It's red ending, green ending, blue ending for Mass Effect 3. Like, all the choices you made, all the worlds, not just one world, multiple worlds, galaxy, planet system, and it just turns into red, green, blue. Or the director's cut, fuck it, and I'm just gonna let everybody die.
Yeah.
Dude, like, do you know where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah, like, back in the day, like, writing was way better in video games. They actually took time before gaming became, like, a multi-million-dollar industry.
Billion.
Billion. It's a lot more, it's more profitable than movies now.
Yes.
People didn't think it would ever become this big. Like, gaming is fairly new also, like,
40 years now?
Yeah. Go back like 40-ish years, and like there's the Atari and the fucking Super NES and shit like that, and Sega, and there's been a lot of changes through gaming, and you know, now it's more of a cinematic experience than a video game. And I think a lot more companies spend more time on like graphics and the presentation of the video game instead of writing an actual coherent, good, concise story. You know.
You played Uncharted, right?
I beat the shit out of all three of them. I still didn't complete 4. I have it, but it's in my backlog. I got around to it.
Yeah, we got it for free during COVID. I think everybody did. And I love those games.
$160 billion in 2020.
Shit.
It's crazy, bro.
$160 billion.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because certain games cost $250 million
just to make.
Yeah. But yeah, like Uncharted, do you remember the plot?
Yeah.
Because it felt like a movie.
Right.
Like everything felt controlled. Whatever you were doing in that game felt like this is literally Indiana Jones with just a video game version of it.
Right.
It felt
was
like
sort of like it was like Indiana Jones was sort of a Tomb Raider. Male Tomb Raider.
It was like everything felt so controlled. All the section where it has that Call of Duty section where everything's blowing up and falling, and like the fucking train section in 2 where like you're falling off the train and shit.
Love that.
It's like, it's cool, but I'm not actually in control. Like, it's maybe like an action prompt or something like that, but it's just like, no, this is not freeform. All the destruction, there's no destruction and whatnot. In comparison to that, I know there's a weird change around because it's a multiplayer game. The reason why I like Battlefield more than Call of Duty, because like terraforming.
Yeah. Like,
you shoot a fucking rocket launcher at a building. The map started off this way, but I can change it to something else. I like freedom more than a controlled experience. And yeah, I know if you let the player have too much power, it can fuck with the whole game experience. I went to school for gaming. I understand that. But it's like, when it comes to RPGs or just story-based games, if you're just taking me on a roller coaster ride rather than like, let me explore, let me enjoy, I hate it. And I know some people love it, but I hate having someone hold my hand for a video game. I want to learn about the lore. And like Destiny, I did not care about the lore.
No, and the lore honestly wasn't even in the game.
You had to go to a fucking website.
On the website, that was so. Oh my fucking god. That game was in development hell for a very long time. Bungie really fucked that game up, and I think like now with D2, it's a hell of a lot better.
Bungie doesn't even own it.
No,
anymore.
Bungie doesn't even. Yeah, but they cut ties with They worked with Activision, so I think it might have been more so on Activision's part, but. There was just a lot of shit going on where like people were leaving the studio. And the original writer left, so they couldn't use his story, so they had to retcon everything and switch shit around, and it was a slew of bullshit.
And it's the same thing. The Outer Worlds were former Bethesda or Obsidian employees, and they did. And it's the same thing with Dragon Age. Like a lot of the people from the original game leave, so you have the Star Wars new movies shit, where it's like. They're inheriting something that's not theirs, and then they've retcon everything to make it their thing. That's why the new movies suck. It was just like, this is not yours, but I'm inheriting this thing, and either the publisher, EA, for example, takes over, and they're like, oh yeah, just make this a game, a live service game. Even though it was just an RPG game. Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age 2, or Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2, RPG game. Then it's a action RPG game. Then it's just an action game with RPG elements.
Yep.
And that's literally how Dragon Age and Mass Effect went. And those are two of my favorite franchises. So it sucks to see, like, I don't know, like, I just hate the game, like, the future of those games. We saw what happened with Andromeda. We're going to see what happened with Dragon Age 4. Like, it's crazy because most of those developers go to make the Outer Worlds, which is an amazing game, or the Nukeclear podcast, which you know we saw what happened with Fallout 76. Like, do you beat New Vegas?
No, I actually didn't even have New Vegas. I never got around to it. I was in high school at the time, so
tear it down.
That was the only Fallout I didn't get around to playing because even though it's the best one, I just didn't have the time or money at the time. I was in high school, focusing on getting into colleges. So all my time and money was going towards that. So it was just a weird time. But I did play 3, 4. Even like 3 was I was like one of the most memorable video games where you got to make a choice, which is really cool.
You can join the fucking Enclave.
And
like poison the water.
Exactly. And just doom everybody. Or you could save everybody, sacrifice your...
Or you can send Fox in, the super mutant,
and
then no one dies.
So it's like, it's a lot... Yeah, it was so many cool choices there. And I was like, holy shit. Like,
and you saw the difference between that and Fallout 4, where it was just like... In Fallout 3, I love this topic because now we can actually talk about Fallout rather than just talking about mental illness and like the struggles of whatever. It's like in Fallout 3, I still remember Raleigh's Raiders and like doing the Point Lookout with the hillbilly motherfuckers, or Operation Anchorage when you do the simulations.
That shit was so fun.
Dude, I remember all those plots. Even Mothership Zeta, which is my least favorite out of the bunch, just because the only cool part was I got to samurai armor. But like, dude, those quests were so fucking cool.
That's why I loved Fallout 3's DLCs. As opposed to like 4, which was just like it was very.
Dude, I do not remember.
I don't remember anything. I was like, wait, they actually had like stuff in it.
I have not played Fallout 3 since 2015, and I remember more of that game than Fallout 4.
Yeah, they really didn't hold any punches with that DLC, and a lot. It was the pit. Yeah, the pit was so fucking cool. The Fallout.
You could eat a baby.
Was that fun?
If you were a cannibal in that game, you could dead ass eat the baby who was like the cure for the disease that was going on there.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was so fucked up. But
you could be a full dead ass cannibal in that game, and it actually has story plot like shit that you can actually do. There was actual role play in the game where Fallout 4, get rid of the stat system, you just get perks, and it's just so streamlined. It's just an action. The gameplay is better, but the story is worse.
Yeah.
And a lot of modern game development get rid of the choice in general, and even the illusion of choice. It's just, here's what you get. That's it.
So would you, where you are right now as a gamer, would y'all prefer a game with a better story and worse graphics and mechanics, or better mechanics, graphics, and worse story?
So the game I have tattooed on my neck, can't show it because on my neck, is Elder Scrolls Oblivion. That game plays like shit. That game is, in terms of gameplay comparison to like Skyrim or Dragon's Dogma, all those action games that I love, it plays like shit. It's my favorite game of all time because of the story. I will take Pillars of Eternity, a Divinity Original Sin, where the gameplay is not, or Baldur's Gate, where the gameplay is like not amazing, but if that story makes me like tear up or give me the emotion like I actually care about this character dying, not just okay, it's way cooler. Like, dude, we, like, me and my friends were still having a debate on Imperial versus Stormcloaks in Skyrim. Like, the game is over 10 years old now, and we're still having debates about who do you pick. That's so cool. I want memorable shit. And like, in a lot of games now, I play Fallout 76. I do not remember anything of the plot.
It didn't have any NPCs for the first like year or something like that. It was the dumbest shit ever. How are you gonna have an MMO with no NPCs?
But like you said,
I get what you try to do, but like that's what Fallout's known for.
Will you sacrifice a gameplay for a story? And like, yes, dude, you can make all those weird indie games, where like Undertale. Yeah. We don't really care about the story.
No.
Senua Sacrifice, Hellblade, dude, it's an amazing game, and the gameplay is a generic like God of War clone.
Right. Even I would say going back to Uncharted and Naughty Dog games, like even God of War, even they play very exceptionally, like they're acceptable. They're not like, they don't do anything crazily innovative, but I do think like The Last of Us was probably the first one, not the second one. We don't talk about the second one, and because I'm gonna make a point about the illusion of choice in the second game and the first game. But the first game, a lot of people chalked it up to a walking simulator is what they like to call it, and like we've dealt with a lot of that shit in this gaming generation. We've had like 10 plus years of walking simulator where they just take you through all these different biomes and vistas.
The Order 1866.
That game is just, we don't talk about that either. Amazing looking game, but again, like it sacrificed the gameplay sort of aspect of it, actually playing a video game, for the story and the graphics. And again, like, stop doing that.
A 4-hour movie.
Exactly, like stop fucking sacrificing the game aspect for just having it look good. But I think Uncharted and The Last of Us can do both pretty adequately. You got the cinematics, very heartfelt story. Like, the most memorable part from The Last of Us, and I think the entirety of video games, was like when Joel's daughter is shot dead. Like in the very beginning, like that shit made me cry. It was made like gangsters cry.
I compare
it made the hood cry.
I compare it to the movie Up, like where the first 10 minutes of the movie was just like, I'm in this bitch. Yeah. I'm in this bitch. And Last of Us did the same thing. It's like, I see why he's an asshole. Yeah. Character development, you get to see it.
It makes perfect sense. And that goes again to the lore of having a like cohesive story and like coherent and congruent with who the character is, like as a person. Now he lives in a vastly different world in like the snap of a finger. Like there's like a fungus that's killing people. It's like the pandemic now. Like you can't be trusting of people who aren't vaccinated, whatever. But it's like you live in this post-apocalyptic era where everyone's like trying to get over on everyone else. You can't just trust people because now there's raiders and shit like that. It's kind of like Fallout, but it's like there's all these things that are out to get you, that are out to kill you, whatever. And it's all about you living in this new reality and surviving. So then you get to like, and then like near the end of the game, spoilers, but like you have to make a choice to save Ellie, right? You don't really get a choice. Like, if I recall correctly, it's just, it is what it is. Like you pick up Ellie. Joel doesn't want her to die because they would have to cut open her brain and cut out a piece of her brain that would ultimately kill her for the cure that they don't even know if it's going to work or not to cure people from the cordyceps virus, which is a real virus, by the way, but it doesn't affect humans. But anyway, so in the end, like Joel decides to say, hey, no, fuck that. I can't let this little girl die, because he sees a lot of his daughter that he lost years ago inside of her, and like he's sort of like this surrogate father to her.
And over the course of time, he learned to love her.
Exactly.
Like, they actually had moments.
Yeah. And so he picks her up off the table, and then the doctors are trying to stop him. The doctor wields a scalpel trying to kill you, so then you shoot him in the face, and then you escape with her, and you kill, fireflies on the way out. Fireflies are the soldiers in the game, like a soldier faction that's trying to help people get cured of the virus. And so then that ultimately like leads off into the potential The Last of Us 2 that a lot of people didn't even know if we were gonna get. I personally think the ending was fine.
I was about to ask. That was my open-ended question to you. Do you think games like that, like how I feel about Dragon Age, it should have only been one game?
Yeah, it depends on how it ends. I think like with the Last of Us DLC for the first game, when it shows
how she got bit and shit,
how she got bit and
her friend died.
Yeah, I love it. It hints at like her sexual orientation and shit like that, which is that's fine. Again, they didn't like force it in there. They just kind of like
they made it seem natural, like how it's supposed to be.
It's kind of natural, and it's like okay, cool, like whatever. But the second game just does this whole fucking 180 where it's like
we're making a political statement.
Yeah, it's a political statement. Dr. Arando from the first game, who didn't have a name, he had no importance.
Different race.
Different race. He had zilch impact on what choices you made, or he wasn't even in the game except until the literal last few minutes of the game, right? Shoot him in the face, rando NPC 42069, you just dip off, right? You've killed all these other people throughout the game. Why the fuck didn't they just all of a sudden have this huge like overarching plot line in the second game? Like why the fuck was it? I don't know, whatever. But you kill the doctor, then his daughter comes back for revenge in the second game, and it's like, well, who the fuck is she? It's like she finds Joel by some coincidence. I don't know, like some probability in the world. Like she was, first of all, still alive. She finds Joel, murders him in cold blood after she finds out who he is because he gives up his name, and is just so easily trusting of her when he finds her in danger.
Character development, like it gets rid of. Like, he's a completely different character.
It retcons everything. Like, what does he have? Alzheimer's now? He just doesn't remember shit. Like, I get he's getting old, but it's just like.
You know why they made Last of Us 2? Money.
Exactly.
Like, they did not make it because they actually want. I remember seeing interviews where in the first game they were like, "No, we don't want to make a second game."
Yeah.
They openly said they didn't want to make a second game. So the fact that you did is like. We can see where you wanted to do, and the gameplay is completely different.
Yeah.
In terms of like, it's more open. It's doing the whole selling point,
pseudo open
worlds, and.
Mm-hmm. But also on top of that, like again, the game looks graphically impressive. It's beautiful. I think like
it's a bunch of nothing now.
Yeah, but also it did a lot of great things with like accessibility options for people who are disabled, who have vision problems, shit like that. Like it almost makes it. Like the shit you get to edit in that game, in the settings, the amount of detail they put into that game for what you can do, you can make the AI so dog shit that you can just play through the game and review it like solely based on the story. I think that's cool for journalists who complain about the difficulty of a game like a Dark Souls game or whatever. But at the same time, I think you should just play the game vanilla. But going back to just like the accessibility options for people that struggle with certain things in video games.
Yeah, they had a colorblind mode, which was
shit like that.
Great.
Dope, awesome, cool. When the game does great things.
I think they even had something for blind people.
Yeah, like something for blind people too, like sensory, like different options and shit like that. That was really dope, but horrible fucking story, really stupid, totally just made just for money. And the gameplay aspect of it was like a lot of segments were, hey, survive until this person opens this door.
Like Destiny.
Like
literally, go to this place, put your watcher in, look, defend position, or go forward.
There were so many segments in like The Last of Us 2 where like there's just a bunch of clickers running at you. You have to kill them, and then someone's opening a door or pushing some object over for you to jump on top of or whatever. I was like, dude, come on, like we're tired of that shit.
Now let me just say one point: the animations are amazing.
Yeah,
like the fighting, the fisty cops. It looks like you're doing a real fucking fight for the most part. They usually like have one person like standing in the background waiting while watching their friend get stabbed and their fucking throat get pulled out. You're just like. When's my turn, Dad? Like,
time just stops.
But in terms of like moment-to-moment gameplay, it's amazing when you're actually in it. But when you're riding on a horse and whatnot, like there's a bunch of nothing. It's just a bunch of set pieces.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
Right.
It sucks so bad. And then when you once again get to the story, it's like and I'm not one to complain about everybody making a political statement. I feel like more games should make a political statement. I think it's 5 Days in Fallujah, the game that's coming out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people were pushing against that because they were like, "Hey, we don't want to make a political statement on that." It's up to the developer if they want to do it. If they're just showing a battle or whatnot to see what people were going for at that time, do whatever you want. But like, when it feels forced, and this is only perception, when you're pushing like social issues in a different world or a different existence that we're not living in, it feels cringy. Yeah. And that's just me. Whether it's race, gender, sexuality, financial status, whatnot. It depends on the game. Because a lot of the games I do play, like, there's like racism against elves, or like you hear the whole.
Even in Mass Effect,
fuck the Barbarians and shit. Like, I don't know. I feel like The Last of Us in Neil Druckmann, I think his Druckmann. He smells his own farts and think they smell good, and it was just me. Look how much I'm caring about all these social issues. Look how woke I am. Look how much I get it. Oh, I have this race person in this game that was never in a game. But look at me. Look how great I am.
And this was solely based on the fact that someone was like, "Hey, well, why is this game called?" I think originally, like, The Last of Us was actually going to be developed. It was going to be called something else, like Human, or some weird shit like that, and it was. The virus was originally going to only affect women and turn them into something like that. And then I guess one of his colleagues was like, "Oh, why does it only affect women? That's kind of sexist." And then he made The Last of Us, and it used the cordyceps virus instead. And then The Last of Us 2 became what it became today.
Really?
Yes. He made a whole like presentation. It was like a pseudo TED talk about it.
It's crazy how like the game came out last year, so it's crazy how like your whole stance changed. I mean, in 7 years, where
just
like
because someone said some shit like,
which we get it, like you get woke over time, you realize, but nothing in that game was offensive to me, and I guess because
no, I mean the original plot point was that the virus was only going to affect women,
and you can make that shit work.
And you could, absolutely. So, but again, it's him bending the knee and being like, "Oh, all right, let me be woke man, cuck man."
Yeah, it just felt forced.
Timothy bitch boy.
And will you say, like, in terms of like, you seen how Last of Us went, where it was like there was no choices, there were just you were on a roller coaster. Comparison to that of another game that you played, like Nier.
Yes.
Where even getting certain weapons are. Changes the ending, or is a derivative of Drakengard series, which did the same thing. Where, like, do you prefer that? Because my problem with Nier was that, like, everything was just so. There was never a good ending.
No, that game was.
Drakengard too, like all of them. Like there were, and I feel like in a game that gives you choice, there should be a decent ending. Like I'm not saying like happy go lucky. And I know Yoko Taro doesn't like doing happy endings. That's literally why Drakengard exists. Yeah. But, like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah.
Do you like that type of shit? Because it's like, it gives you multiple endings. It gives you choice, but, like, the choices that they give you are kind of shit.
Yeah. I do like multiple choice endings. But, again, like, if the game is just everything, like, that's the universe it's in. Like, it's some Berserk type shit. Like, it's very bleak. Mm-hmm. This world is fucked. You're fucked.
You doomed all of existence.
You've doomed all existence. The endings are fucked. But I think what they did with the remaster was they included another ending along with some DLC.
Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. And it was the only good ending, to be honest with you. So in ending...
Spoiler alert.
C or D, you actually sacrifice your existence to make Kaine human again, or a regular, like she doesn't have the disease anymore, or the what is it called, the black scroll. She doesn't have it anymore because you sacrificed your existence. So what that in turn does is completely, since you sacrifice your existence, you delete your entire save file. And then like you play you get it back, but you play as Kaine. And it takes place 2 years after you're totally gone, and she vaguely remembers you in saving the human race, or saving your sister from the Shadow Lord. And like now the shades have run rampant, and like again you've doomed humanity. So like it is what it is. But ultimately, she ends up beating like this weird program that's it leads into automata, but like it's this program that was in charge of like the whole replicant program.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So then you end up.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So then you end up. What the hell was it? So you pretty much end up beating the program or whatever and saving Nier, bringing them back by using your memories or whatnot, and you reclaim your character's existence. So then it gives you back your save file and everything like that, and I'm not entirely even sure if humanity was. I would assume from the continuation to Automata that humanity's still doomed, maybe, but I don't know.
Well, if you know how Nier was started, it was a derivative of
Drakengard,
yeah, Drakengard. I think 1 ending, but then they made Drakengard 2,
Yeah.
which
Then 3.
then 3. So, 3 was a prequel to all of them.
Right.
So like, you can whatever ending you get in those games, you can make your own headcanon for.
Yeah.
And that's what Yoko Taro does, which is great.
True.
So if you want that to be your ending, it's your ending.
Right.
But one game, if I can break on one that does it the worst of all time. Are we so good?
3 minutes.
3 minutes? All right, I'll make this real quick. Far Cry fucking 5. Dude, what the fuck? I have the poster still at my fucking house for that game. When I worked at GameStop, I was super excited for that game. Actually, I wasn't working, but I had my connection to get the poster there. But that game I was looking forward to. You could create your own character, which was great for the first time. You're in America, you're in fucking Montana and shit.
Montana.
First of all, silent protagonists. I fucking hate silent protagonists where I can't speak. So you just have every fucking villain, because there's a deceived family, and all 4 of them are just sprouting exposition at you about their god and redemption and all that type of shit. And no matter what happened, the world fucking ends, and that's it. And I'm not even gonna explain more of it. No matter all you do, all the good, all the people you save, the world fucking ends. Because the developer's like, I feel like the world's gonna end. I'm gonna make that my ending so I can sell another game. That's it. That's it. I just wanted to say that. Fuck you. Fuck Far Cry. I'm not playing the next one. Even though they got my motherfucking dude from Breaking Bad. Fuck that shit. No. Done. Finito. Psh.
All right. So getting more into the last few points we wanted to make about the illusion of choice in video games. I just wanted to talk about. I just want to make a bit of a comparison actually to some of the games that came out was it this year? Yeah, this year, and between last year, or a lot of games that were in development in recent years that did do things right. One of them being the Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
Amazing game. Cinematically beautiful. Gameplay was awesome. Shit was dope. I think they should have. Some of the stuff I wish they played up a little bit more, but again, like Sucker Punch don't miss.
They don't miss.
And they just the fighting sword system was. It was a little bit. It was similar to like playing like For Honor or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it was very rhythm based.
Yeah.
Or Sekiro. I would say
Sekiro,
a way lesser version of it.
I would say that. Yeah.
Cause you can break that game hella easy. It's hella easy.
That game, yeah. But just the shit you got to do in that game, the story,
The environment,
the environment, beautiful
the
landscape.
less of HUD, like a HUD
Very
in
minimal HUD,
dude, and having the blossom lead, the cherry leaves,
yes.
like.
And going back to like the accessible options you got to do in that game, and just the way you got to make it, like you got to have this traditional Japanese samurai movie aesthetic to the game. You could play it in black and white. You could play it with Japanese.
Kurosaka.
Yes. The subtitles. It had Ken Watanabe in it, I believe. Yeah. Phenomenal fucking game, man, and the choices you got to make. In the ending of the game, spoilers again.
We're gonna say it.
Or I mean, we could.
No. I just want to know. Yeah. Go for it, bro.
So ultimately, like when you play throughout the game, you do realize who the real villain is, and besides the Mongols, but like
the Japanese government, the shogunate.
yeah, literally, the shogunate's like, the Japanese, like it's sort of this waging war battle between your own country and the people there and the Mongols that are invading Tsushima. And near the end of the game, your uncle pretty much becomes an enemy because you you go against his authorities and the shogunates. But like the ending battle where you ultimately get to either take his life or spare him, and you be hunted for the rest of your life as being known as the Ghost of Tsushima. That choice was heavy.
Or you can just die.
Yeah.
You can let him kill you.
You could let him
and that's essentially an ending.
True.
You don't get an ending cutscene, but that is a choice.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Because he's gonna because you think about it, post story. If he kills you, he gets his place back in the shogunate.
Right.
If he lets you go, he's probably gonna get executed by the shogunate because he failed.
True. Makes sense, yeah. But yeah, that game, again, like it didn't have like, the massive overarching plots in other video games where if you did X, Y, and Z, then it would affect this thing. But like towards the end, like you've spent so much time with this character throughout the entirety of the game.
Japanese Batman.
Exactly. And that's where like that choice was so heavy.
Yeah, because to build on that, it was more so about honor. You saw the flashbacks with his uncle back in the day, or the fact that he couldn't save his father. The whole fact of building up your character as honor. But once your uncle see what you do with the fucking poison shit.
Yeah.
And where you get the fucking devil breaker move,
just
slicing up motherfucker, fucking slicing up motherfucker's head, and then like, oh man, dude, you get to see his character change from I'm an honorable samurai when you get I forgot the girl's name, Yuko.
I think her name is.
Yes, like once you get like,
once you meet her and you learn the techniques of ninja or thieves,
yes,
and which is not honorable amongst samurai. They fight very like, hey, I'm here, come fight me now face to face, instead of being stabbed in the back.
And yes, it's only one choice, but it's literally based off what your character is going through. Are you gonna do the whole honorable thing because you're dishonoring your uncle by not killing him?
True.
You're doing the ultimate dishonor, but do you care about that, or do you care about saving your uncle, the last person you actually have left that you consider family? Dude, one mission that made me fucking cry is when Jin's caretaker, you do all her missions.
Oh yeah.
And then it's implied that like they had an affair, and it's just like when she dies and like
like dementia, and she's like losing her memory,
and she sees you like his
dad,
bro.
Oh man, that was...
Dude, it's one of those moments where I had to put down a controller because just the aesthetic, the leaves blowing, all that. I'm like,
atmosphere, everything. That game had a lot of atmosphere.
And one thing I do like about this generation of games, photo mode, because I took so many fucking screenshots during that game. No matter what it was just like, and you could take it at any point, even in cutscenes. Yeah. It's just like, this game is just even on an old school PS4, like first gen, that game ran perfectly.
It loaded like that. Loaded so quickly.
Yeah, my PS4 sounded like a fucking jet engine, but it was honestly the best swan song for a console probably ever.
Yeah.
Like, I think Killzone 2 was a swan song of PS2. Like,
that was PS3. Killzone 2.
Was it?
Yeah, PS3.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Killzone 2 and 3 were on PlayStation.
Yeah, but like, dude, it was such a good game, and like, one choice made everything seem like, who are you gonna be going forward? Because they're making more games off of that. Maybe they make it to a series. The definitive edition adds another island, and like,
and on top of that, we got multiplayer for free. A lot of shit for free, but like the expansions,
Right? Like, we're not going to be like the depressing podcast where everything's shit and everything's bad, but it's like there's a good way to make choices, and going to like a system that actually did it really well in the beginning and then it turned to shit, the Paragon system and Mass Effect. Yeah. Like Mass Effect, and it goes to role playing. Spoiler alert once again. I'm just saying it so no one fucking says in the comments like, why are you spoiling shit? Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, we put this here.
Like, just put it in the title. Spoiler alert, everywhere. But like, in Mass Effect 1, it makes sense to play a Paragon character. And then Mass Effect 2, you fucking die.
Yeah.
And you join a fucking terrorist organization which is pro-human. Which sounds cool for us because we are the only known species that are sentient to the way that we are. But in Mass Effect 2, in Mass Effect the universe, there's alien races who are just as sentient or even more than us, who have longer lifespan, like the Asari and the Krogan. And Mass Effect 2, it makes sense to play Renegade because you're pissed off. The fucking console are still being fucking dickheads. And, like, everybody's just saying, no one cares about the Reapers. Like, you literally showed them Saren fucked up. Like, Saren was trying to do some fuck shit. You prevented it. And the console, you sacrificed, most likely, if you made the choice, you sacrificed humanity to put them on a console. And it's like, they still don't give a fuck.
Nope.
So it makes sense to play like, I'm fucking pissed off. And in Mass Effect 3, none of that shit matters. So you're building up this plot over 2 games where you're making choices on literal planets living and dying once again. Like, you are helping a terrorist organization that you fought in the first one that enslaved the Ragnar race. And you're like, damn, I gotta go to a terrorist organization to get shit done? That's like me joining Al-Qaeda to save save America. like I'm slicing his throat for America. Like just imagine. And it's like, dude, Mass Effect 3 just drops the ball in terms of everything you're building towards. Because you think about the endings, once again. The Control, you're literally just doing Saren's ending, where he wants to make the Synthesis, where he wants to make organics and synthetics. Yeah. 1. Control, you control the Reapers. Why would you want to control something that kills humans and you don't know if they're gonna break off and whatnot? Destroy the Reapers, which is the only one that makes sense. But if you make peace with the Geth, like, you're destroying your allies, which they can be rebuilt. But it's like, damn, Legion sacrificed himself for nothing.
True.
Like, you have such good... And Edie dies. Like, you have... All the endings were like, fuck it. So, fans were complaining about it. And then they made the director's cut, which added a bunch of cheap cutscenes. And they added a 4th ending, which was just like, fuck it. Which is like a fuck you to fans. And you just walk off and you just everybody dies.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you do that? Like, Mass Effect 3, in terms of gameplay, once again, the best game. You're not just doing a gun butt.
Yeah.
You're taking out this vibro sword, essentially, and, like, stabbing motherfuckers and punching them in their fucking mid.
Sword was,
yeah.
How many blades was sick.
And, dude, it's like, Dragon Age Inquisition and 2 suffer from the same thing, because BioWare, a lot of those people love. And
Andromeda probably had the best gameplay out of all the games.
Dude.
It was developed to be an action game with RPG elements and
barely.
It's an action game just with little pseudo.
None of your choices matter. There is one ending for everyone.
The story is garbage. Again, they worked on the gameplay being the best and the graphics looking cool. But facial expressions were dog shit. Dialogue options, dog shit. No real choices that mattered.
There were some cute moments, though.
Yeah, there were some pretty nice moments. And some of the characters were cool.
Jaw.
Yeah, and shit like that. But
one thing I just want to say about Andromeda, we're not going to say here, we're going to go back. But you go to a whole new galaxy, which is like 1,000 light years away.
It's fine. God damn.
What are you saying? But the one thing about the Andromeda part was really cool. Was the most annoying part. Sorry. Thanks, Matt. Which was the worst part about it. It was like, you go to the galaxy, which is 1,000 light years away, and there's only one new race.
Exactly.
Which is derivative of, and the enemy race is just another version of that one race. Yeah. So it's like, damn. So the universe that we just came from has so many different races, which they don't all put in Andromeda.
No,
there's only 4 races: the Solarians, the Krogans, and Turians, and humans.
Mm-hmm. They put the mainstream ones in there.
Not the Elcor.
Nope.
Not the Honor.
They took out all the little side races that didn't really.
I know. Sorry. Yeah. So it's like, damn. Okay, this universe feels way smaller. Humanity is doomed. Life is doomed.
Yes.
Dude, it's
another game, AAA title that we were waiting for several years for. Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh.
Graphically impressive game.
Story's not that bad though.
Story's not that bad actually. It's a very great story.
I had a couple emotional moments. Yeah. Like
Still haven't finished it, but like
I'm at the last
again,
mission.
like from a gameplay aspect, there's cool shit in it. Like there's cool abilities, cool guns, cool weapons.
It's too easy. You can break that.
Too easy.
Yeah.
And then when you with the hard setting, it's like. It's kind of like really like is that hard? Like it's kind of like it's still easy, but it's still
you can break the game with the armor system.
Yeah,
like
it's the game is unbalanced. The systems don't really work that well.
They lied.
They lied a hell of about everything. Pretty much.
You know what I'm really mad about? Because when we recorded that episode last season where we're kind of praising the game, we're like, we don't understand why people are mad, and now we're coming back like, nah.
And that's fine because like.
You played it.
It's like the burden of like expectations. Like we expected so highly of this game.
I think in subconsciously we were trying to justify our purchase.
Like buyer's remorse.
Yeah, like we're like
a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, it's good for what it. Again, like it does shit good, but again, it's not free from criticism.
They don't have a train in the game.
They don't have a fucking train.
You can't shoot out the car.
You can't shoot out the car.
As a driver.
It's like it's very mediocre in like a lot of its aspects, and like the basic. Gameplay loop is just very basic.
Realistically,
dated.
How far do you think that game was off from actually being released properly?
I think that they should have put at least like 8 more months on that.
I think 2 more years.
Like, even 2 more
because
years.
Given like the one thing I will, once again, as someone who was trying to get into the industry myself, crunch is the worst thing that happens to any artistic community, but definitely in the gaming industry, where it's like crunch is when they work you to death. And you barely get benefits, and most of the jobs you work at in the gaming industry, like any other art, you're contracted, so you don't really get benefits like that. And they work you to the bone, while to the point where you're sleeping at a job to make art.
Yes.
And as anyone knows, when you're forced to do something, when it comes to art, the turnout is disgusting.
Yeah.
I did one QA testing job, and I know people are not gonna consider that thing. I game test your shit. So your shit is not buggy like Cyberpunk. And it got to the point where we had one person there who was like fall asleep at the table, but they would work there all day to the point where they didn't realize what they were writing, and they were just writing random letters. They were literally speaking in binary code because they lost their like space and time and shit. And we looked at them and we're just like, oh yeah, you're working too hard, bro. But in our industry, well, the industry I was trying to get into, is like, that's expected for you to kill yourself. And you see how games turn out like that. On one end, you get something like The Last of Us, which is, the first one where it's like, this game is amazing. Everything's really detailed. And on the other end, you get games like Cyberpunk 2077 or Anthem, where those games have a shit ton of crunch, and it was released too early to appease stockholders and whatnot. And dude, like, we saw what happened. Crunch is the worst thing that anything that can happen to our industry, and it's like, damn, you can literally see where they had to like force things through to appease the stockholders. And the story is good. That's the main thing, but they missed out on everything. The one part that we can both say, the first 30 minutes of the game, you do our origin story, and you finally get into Night City. And then you have a montage of the trailer.
That's literally like when they advertised this shit a lot too. By the way, you thought like, okay, these are cutscenes in the game after like post mission that you complete or some shit like that.
All the cool characters, meaning Mama Wells, Jackie's mom and shit. All that cool shit is in a 3-minute montage. And I played the Nomad origin story. So I'm like, oh, I'm going to see us driving into Night City for the first time. Nope. You did a corporal.
I started Street Kid. And then just to see, because like I come from the hood, but like I just wanted to see how that would be, like being in the underworld already and like being in the streets and shit of Night City. I wanted to experience Night City right then and there, up front and center. Then I got past the first 30 minutes or whatever, and then like I was like, okay, that was a dope intro, like cool. Let me see what the other intros have in mind and see how they play, because this shit fucked me up. And I was like, I felt like they all led to the same outcome, but like just different beginning. So I played the corporal one, which is like literally the most streamlined introduction to the game ever. Nothing happens at all, really. Literally nothing. You're just in the bathroom after you just had like I don't know.
Did some drugs, probably.
You did some drugs, popped the perk, you sweating. And then Jackie calls you on the phone, like you guys are already associated and shit like that. You leave there's other people smoking and doing drugs in the bathrooms, like they always do in the corporate world. And you leave, and then you talk to your boss for a bit. He wants you to do this mission to steal some files or some information or something like that from some other big tech company or some other corpo, I can't remember. And then you go to like into Night City, you go meet Jackie at the club, and then all of a sudden the corpo industry that you work for find out that what you were trying to do, what you guys were up to, and then they literally steal all your assets.
Yep.
So you're literally just Street Kid. So technically you could say that Corpo could be a prequel to the Street Kid thing.
Yeah.
But they all blend together. The only two different ones would be, I guess, Street Kid and Nomad, which would be the best introductions to the game to pick because they're vastly different.
And the world is so beautiful.
It's so beautiful. One of the best looking games to come out in a long ass time. Just
definitely because they do the DL5 system. Yeah. I think it's called for PC, where we played on PC.
Yeah, with ray tracing and all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played both versions. PS4. Dog shit optimization. That game should have never came out on last gen consoles.
They took it off the store until I think it's back up now.
Yeah, now, after a year or so.
Dude, and they're still like speaking of the origin stories, comparison to another origin story game, Dragon Age Origins, once again, where it blended in well. Yes, you became a Grey Warden at the end of all your origin story, but it shows more. It shows how you go to Ostagar. It shows how you see what happens. It shows how you become a Grey Warden. And comparison to Cyberpunk, it's like, okay, you're established now. There's no build up. You have all these contacts. You have a connection to a character. Granted, I cried when Jackie died.
Yeah, I was fucked up,
but
man.
I only did one mission with both, to be honest.
Literally. You do one mission with him and he
did. Two, I guess, because when you're getting shit. Right. But I don't care about any of these characters. And then the characters that they add in, which are really good. Panama, because I picked the Nomad one. She was cool as shit. Yeah, the Nomad shit was awesome as hell.
One of the best characters.
Judy's also really fucking cool. Her loyalty quest.
A lot of people were pissed off that you couldn't romance her because she was lesbian.
Yeah.
And they made mods.
I know, of course. Same thing they did with Dragon Age. And Mass Effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, dude, it was just really disappointing to see how it went. And another game where your choices don't really matter until it kind of does, depending on what you do with Johnny
Silverhand.
Yeah, Johnny Silverhand. It sucks because even Keanu Reeves' character is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And when you bond with his character, do you get to do the mission where you played the live show?
Oh, and then you go up into the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you play as him for a while before he gets
killed.
No,
I'm talking about in present day. You let Jackie take over. I mean, not Jackie. You let Johnny take over, and you play a live show.
No.
Dude, it's the best. A lot of people.
I've seen some screenshots.
Dude, at the end of this, play the video, Matt, please. It's amazing. Because they're actually playing the chorus, and as you are a musician, you could actually see them playing the guitar chorus. So it's so great. It's so great. So there's a lot of great moments.
It's the cutscene where he knows, and then you can see him where V plays it instead of him because he knows. Okay.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. And so there's good moments in the game, but they're so far in between where you're just doing monotonous bullshit. And in terms of just story in general, it's it had great times and just a lot of meh.
Yeah, I think the side quests were a lot more
fleshed out, a
lot more engaging than the main plot point because even some of the main missions were very, again, the very opening of the game was very well done. Like when you're doing missions with Jackie when you extract that woman that was abducted and everything, building up to getting the flathead robot, and then I like that. I like missions with structure. You're building up to some shit to a major mission. Like, for instance, you're gonna do a heist on like a bank or something like that. You guys have to get the weapons, the masks, the vehicles, find a getaway driver. Cool shit like that. Like GTA 5 did that in the campaign. Even though GTA 5 had a lot of downtime in the story, it was kind of like it was too like ordinary day, like I don't know, it was just so weird. It was too real world, like as goofy as GTA 5 can be.
But it did a better open world than Cyberpunk did.
True, absolutely. Like GTA, like Rockstar, they've been doing this for a very long time. I think they should.
Shows.
Yeah, they've been doing this shit for a very long time, and like they are ahead of the game. They've been way like avant-garde about their video games, in my opinion. Like
it's the highest selling game ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
GTA 5 still to this day, the game is like
version.
3 generations old.
Yeah. Oh shit, it is.
Like it came out on PlayStation 3. We did not get a GTA 6 or anything for. We didn't even get like a spin-off of 5.
No, we didn't even get story DLC.
Never, still no story DLC.
Everything went
PS4. Now it's going to be on PS5. Enhanced graphics. I don't know how more enhanced can you get than the PC version, which has like you can put ray tracing on it if you mod it and shit like that. Dude. So hopefully we get a GTA 6 soon. We're gonna see how that is. But
they said 4 more years.
Oh Jesus fucking Christ! But fire engine going by. Goddamn.
We in city.
Good old Philly. But
yeah. Just to end this off. Oh, sorry, my bad, bro.
No, you could. But like yeah, GTA 5. It's a world. Even like San Andreas is a bit of ahead of its time.
Dude,
that game had so much shit. Like
hell,
it was a open world Rockstar game, but like CJ, you could have like. It had like RPG elements. Like you could make him fat. You could build muscle, like onto the gym. You could learn martial arts and shit, which changes your fighting style. Like you get all type of shit. It was so fucking cool. And like Cyberpunk has like this again, the illusion of choice, where you were, and also they didn't deliver on a lot of promises on the video game. A lot of shit's missing from the video game
because of crunch.
Good old fucking crunch.
And that's like in total like. The reason why I go back rather than go to the present in terms of video game, because it's like there's nothing here right now. Like definitely because of the pandemic, but I was like, there's nothing here, bro.
Yeah.
And on the horizon, there's nothing coming.
No, and I get super burnt out from open world video games because it's the same shit over and over again.
That's the ultimate illusion of choice.
And it's like in like a lot of them now, like especially the third person ones. For instance, the Ubisoft games, The Division and Ghost Recon are the same fucking game as Watch Dogs. They are all the same Ubisoft.
They're all Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah, they're all Assassin's Creed.
Far Cry, Watch Dogs, Ghost Recon.
Go to this enemy stronghold, destroy it, conquer the map. Just the same shit over and over again. Well, I think Ghost of Tsushima did it a little bit better at least, but I didn't like the final bosses of each little section of the map. But like,
the shitty thing about it, now they can never make a Japanese Assassin's Creed because everybody would just be like, yo, we already got Ghost of Tsushima.
Exactly.
But yeah,
because they wouldn't make it, so they were like, fuck it, we'll make it.
Fuck it. We'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about that.
Make better video games. Please. We're tired of it. And fix Fallout.
Fix Fallout, yes. And just to tie that all back in to go, as Mike likes to say, full circle, the illusion of choice. Please, make good decisions, make good choices. You'll get the good ending. When you're a sportsman, whatever, or an athlete, make better choices, Make smart ones.
When you're down K&A.
Don't do as the Romans do when you're in K&A.
Don't go to Pompeii when there's a volcano there.
Sorry about Pompeii.
All right.
Build a better life.
Build a better life. Or whatever. Or don't.
I got something to tell you, baby. Don't get mad this time. If you want my wiener, you give me ease all up in my mind. Baby, please want my wiener. Oh, want my wiener.